Pleasant day to everyone. This is Gretchel Bilayola to report the topic assigned to me, which is changing situations, changing organizations. Markets once predominant like United States, Japan, and Germany make the transition to new positions. Markets once on the periphery such as Brazil, Russia, China, and India move towards center stage. Multinational enterprises, by choice or by force, respond. They engage unprecedented strategies that demand far more sophisticated organization than any used in the past. For example, IBM, moving into its third organizational phase, is building a globally integrated enterprise that puts investment, people, and work anywhere in the world. This plan spurs it to make decisions based on the right cost, the right skills, and the right business environment, with work flowing to the places where it will be done most efficiently and to the highest quality. Indeed, the McKinsey Global Institute suggests that 400 mid-sized emerging market cities, many unfamiliar in the West, will generate about 40% of global growth over the next 15 years. Therefore, managing an increasingly sophisticated strategy calls for managing a commensurately sophisticated organization. The next approach is the Internet as a design standard. The invention of the telephone and telegraph, by improving global communication, reset the standards of organizing activities in the early 20th century. Corporations at the time responded with formats that reflected in the organizing logic of these technologies. We see the same process in day to day. The Internet as an organization metaphor pushes managers to rethink the assumption of how they arrange work, roles, and responsibilities. The Internet is a supremely sufficient and subjective organization of knowledge, resources, and people. In the height of irony, however, in this formal structure, no board of directors, and no central administrator. Its self-organizing and self-regulating capabilities prompt the thinking conventional notion of design, coordination, and control. Consider that Facebook, Red Hat, Index, PayPal, Naver, Baidu, and Alibaba could not have existed 20 years ago. Or, managing new workplace arrangements calls for managing new structural formats. Another approach is managerial standard. The evolving nature of work changes the conduct and context of employees' jobs, whether done at the biggest headquarters or the smallest subsidiary. Change in the nature of work changes the nature of management. Historically, the higher one's level in the hierarchy, the more one knew about the various jobs in the company. That no longer holds true. Similarly, at one time, frontline employees at the subsidiary level will masters their local marketplace that far removed from the global trend. Real-time access to information facilitated by cheap, powerful telecommunications eliminates knowledge gap. As a result, there are far fewer jobs that senior managers can script or that subsidiary managers cannot do. Furthermore, employees working with information technologies create a value of astonishing variability, problem solving, and intellectual content. It is difficult and usually counterproductive to control workers charged with reasoning or problem-solving tasks. The bright, self-motivating, self-organizing people who staff this source of slots usually oppose the first supervision. Effectively, whether referred to as knowledge workers or the creative class, these individuals aim to behave as if they are CEO. Therefore, managing new workplace standards calls for managing novel organization and control system. The last approach is social contact. Competitive changes and performance expectations alter the social contact between high potential executives and MNEs. Traditional concerns for security, pay, and benefits have expanded to expectations of participating in decision making, devising solutions to unique problems, and receiving challenging assignments. Moreover, social contacts increasingly rely on the compatibility of the company values and personal outlook. Google's worries about brain drain rivals, for instance, led it to identify why people typically quit. It found that executives flee when they no longer feel connected to the company's mission. Consequently, MNEs develop organization cultures that people do not want to merely work for but aspire to belong to. Therefore, managing new expectations calls for managing the social dynamic of organization cultures. Then, we have building a magical organization. These trends push MNEs to rethink the best mix of structures, systems, and values when building, as J&J called it, a magical organization. The payoff is clear, helping employees perform creatively, responsibly, and entrepreneurially. Some firms connect tune their organization's process maps activities to clarify the work environment and improve system standards. Reengineering workflows, streamlining information technology, tightening planning responses, and minimizing duplication are some of their tools of change. We will now move on to the organization structure. The formal arrangement of roles, responsibilities, and relationships in the MNEs represents its organization structure. Step 1 in building an organization is determining the ideal structure for arranging individuals and units to implement this strategy. Designing a structure lets one reasonably set economic development, cultural orientation, and workplace practices as constraints. Then, we have two fundamental structural issues: the degree of vertical differentiation and the degree of horizontal differentiation. When we say vertical differentiation, it is the balance between the centralization and decentralization of authority. More formally, managers vertically differentiate the context structure in terms of centralization versus the decentralization of decision making. As a rule, decisions made above the subsidiary level are considered centralized, whereas those made at or below the level are decentralized. Centralized structure concentrates decision-making power among the executives on the profitable levels. Trust, a decentralized structure pushes decision-making authority down to the folks running the local subsidiaries. Strategic circumstances determine the appropriate degrees of autonomy. The MNE implementing an international or global strategy, for instance, sets centralization as the standard. Headquarters, in its role as the imperialist corporate center, makes decisions that the troops running the local subsidiaries implement. Alternatively, the MNE implementing a multi-domestic strategy decentralizes authority to the troops in the field, reasoning that those closest to the action have a superior understanding on the situation than far-removed generals. That ends my report. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and God bless.